All right, hello everybody. Grady, Polcyn here, Family First Life America, sitting right next to my main man, Mr. Hayden Hill of FFL Levels. Hayden is currently right now on track to be the #1 producer in the entire state of Arizona. What's that like?
It's great.
It's great is right. So for those of you who are new to insurance sales, new to us, just say take a 100% commission rate, which Hayden has a higher level than that because he's built a team and sells at a significantly high level. But 100% commission rate means that he makes 100% of what he issues. And we can get into the details and the complexities of like the specifics of how the policies type stuff works. And so he's a good guy to listen to on what we're going to talk about today, which is objections. We're going to cover the 4 main objections, and maybe we'll spitball 1 or 2 more at the end if you come up with any extra ones. But these are the 4 that I used to hear all the time in the field. 2 that of the 4 that agents hear a lot and new agents hear a lot that they don't know how to overcome. But before we jump into that, I'd love you to take 20, 30 seconds, introduce yourself, say hi to the people.
Yeah, hey guys, Hayden Hill, like Grady said. Been here for full-time about 5-6 months now. Been in the insurance industry for about 5 years collectively. Kind of took a break after I got started for a couple of years with a practice company and then found FFL, and I'm super glad to be here and be back.
But this training today, what we want to talk about is objections. And the importance of objections is early on in your career, you'll sit down with a bunch of people who will say things you've never heard before. Right. And until you've heard them say it and gotten coaching from someone on how to respond, you just kind of go, you just either make stuff up or say something. But you get to a point where when you sell at your level you have now, there's a best response. It's almost like you're waiting. Is it going to be hard this time? Are they going to say something? Am I going to overcome anything, or is it just going to be a lay down? And I know that for a lot of you guys who are new in production, that might seem like a fairy tale land or Narnia that lives out on the edge of the rainbow, where it's some land where you just sell everybody. But right. I promise you, and I swear to you, that this land exists. And as you put yourself in the homes more and more and more, you get more and more experience. So let's start with, you know what? I need to think about it. So if you're sitting with the client, you show them the quotes, and they say, "This looks great, Hayden. You need to think about it."
Yeah, so I like to isolate what's actually they want to think about. So Grady says that to me. I say, "Hey, no problem, Grady." When most people tell me that, it's because of a few different reasons. Either 1, you just didn't really understand the coverage. 2, it's the price. Or 3, maybe I didn't really do my job. You don't totally trust me. So between those 3, is it price, is it the coverage, or is it me? Like which one do you have to think about? And then typically it's usually price, or they'll just say, I don't know, like it's none of those, not you. And then what I say basically is, okay, not a problem. So Grady, the insurance company, needs to think about it as well to see if you can even get approved for this coverage. Okay. And so if you were to become approved, by America or whatever company, which one out of these 3 options would you want to get approved for? I always suggest going for the highest, because once you get qualified for that, we can always reduce it if we need to. So between the $10,000, the $15,000, the $20,000, which one do you want to leave for your family?
Ooh, which one to leave for your family? If I'll go, well, I can do the 15 today.
The 15,000? Okay, great. If you want to go ahead and grab your ID and a void check, I'll get the application started, and we'll see if America can approve you for that.
Now, do they ever say anything else? Like if right there I go, I really I like the 15, but I really need to think about it. Mm-hmm. How do you push through one more time?
Yeah, one more time. What I'll say is kind of reiterate what I said, and not a problem. So Grady, you're gonna have 30 days to think about it. Okay. The policy's gonna come in the mail. You can read every single word in there. You can read every single page in there. If you have any questions, I'm here to help you. But we got to get you approved. You request this because you wanted this, and it's important, just like you said, for Mary and the kids. And so I'd be doing you to serve it. I'd be doing you to serve it today if I walked out and we didn't at least get you applied and approved for something. So go ahead and grab your ID. I'll get this thing started for you.
Got it. And when you say it like that, a lot of times they're just sitting there going, how confident is he? How confident are they? How confident is she? How confident is this person that when you say it, because you probably open with some of that stuff, right? Some of that stuff, then you say then you're saying it when you're closing, then when you say it again, they hear the same thing 3 times. It's like, okay, well, this just does feel good if this is what most people do.
Yeah, I think that, with any sales, Grady, especially insurance, like most people just don't want to make a decision. Okay. So like even if they request it and, you come over to their house and stuff, sometimes people kind of like want to play games, or they just don't want to make the decision because they want to make sure, they're choosing the right thing. Okay. They want to make sure they're not making a mistake or a rash decision. And so it's your job basically to reiterate why they requested it, why you're here. And then, you know, I want to do what's best for them. I've had too many situations. I've helped, you know, hundreds of clients now, and I've had people that I early on in my career, I'd walk out and, you know, not get the policy done, and the husband or wife would die like the next week or the next month, and I would feel like crap because, you know, they didn't make the decision and I didn't push hard enough to help them with what they need and what they requested.
That's great, man. That's awesome. Helping a lot of people. So, okay. So, we see people of all ages, right? The leads we service here range from 18 to 85, right? People of all ages are looking for life insurance, protect their family, protect their dependents, put something in place either for legacy protection or mortgage protection or final expense burial. Now, we run into people, they're working a lot, and they'll go, you know what, Hayden, this looks great now, but I have all these benefits already through work.
Right.
How do you reply to that?
Yeah, so I like to kind of kill that right off the bat on the back of the financial inventory when I ask them, you know, if they have any current life insurance, any, you know, stuff through work, any private. When they say, you know, yeah, I do have some stuff through work, I say, okay, great. So I'm sure you know how that works, Grady. It's kind of like a company car. When you're working there and you're employed by your company, you have access to it. But the second that you leave or you get laid off or you're sick and you can't come to work, you're going to lose that, you know, in 99% of the case. And so this here, what you request and what we're going to try to get you approved for today is a permanent policy that basically no matter if you're working, you're retired, you get sick, whatever the case may be, you're always going to have this and you're going to own it and no one can ever take it away from you.
Okay. So I don't get to keep it if I ever leave this job?
No.
Okay. So that was excellent. That's exactly how I remember how I would do it. One of the things that you can set up too is like when you ask them what they do for work, and you'll agree with this, and you ask them, so how long you been doing that? And they'll go, and you make notates. Maybe they've been there 9 months, maybe they've been there 2 years, right?
Right.
And you just put it, and then when you get down to that part and they go, yeah, I already have insurance, and they go, yeah, I've already got group policy, I just wanted quotes. Okay, perfect. So as you know, most people have 10 jobs before their age of 40.
Right.
And so but as you know, so like you don't get to take this with you. So if you don't, want to keep working here and you end up going somewhere else, these don't get to stay with you. And so talk for a second about how approval works. So like say they get approved and then, they're defending their work policy, but then something health-wise happens and they now lose coverage options. Because that's sometimes they'll go, it's using that like you're only one prescription away from becoming uninsurable. Do you use anything like that?
Yeah, for sure I do. And there's two things that I really look out for with people with the work policy thing is one, just like you said, most people are going to change jobs every 1, 2, 3 years. And so what happens in most cases is like by the time someone's 50 or 60, if they've always just depended on work policies, they could have got a policy locked in when they're like in their 20s, their 30s, their 40s. Okay. But now they're retired or they have no job and they're 60 or 70. And it's like 10 times the cost if they would have just got it, beforehand. Yeah. And the second thing is, it's unfortunate, but a lot of people don't even realize that if you get sick and you have cancer or maybe you had a really bad car accident and you're, not working for like a month or 2 months or 3 months. Okay. Like at some point the company can't just keep you on payroll and keep on letting you have your benefits. And so that coverage in 99% of the cases is going to go away. So they won't have any coverage. Oh,
that's the worst, right? At some point you go with short-term disability. Then you go on long-term disability, but then at some point they're going to let you go because it's all going to run out. And if you can't work and you didn't get permanent coverage that you owned, that wasn't a work benefit, then you're SOL, sadly.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So we service a lot of people of all age, but it's something we'll see a lot of times with maybe more of a senior client who's looking maybe for final expense coverage, and we'll look at 10 or 20, 30, 40, $50,000 of whole life, and they'll look at the price and they'll kind of start doing math and they'll go, you know what, in like 23 years, Hayden, I could have saved up this much money. Why don't I just save my money instead of buying this?
Yeah, so with final expense clients, I like to kind of talk about the 3 ways to pay for a funeral. The first one's, saving cash, which is probably the worst way. And to be honest, like they've been in retirement for a while, they're not saving, so that's not really going to work out. Correct. Second one's a prepaid burial where it is very expensive. But the only caveat is if they move or the funeral home goes out of business or they die before the amount's been paid up. In most cases, they're not going to even get the full amount. And so this way is going to be the best way. And what I talk to them about is, one, you lock in the price. And so what you pay now when you're 60 is going to be the same thing when you're 70 or 75 or 80. The second thing and the biggest thing is immediate coverage. And so you request this because you're worried about it. Let's get something locked in now because Grady, instead of saving your money, Of course, 30, 40 years down the road, if you were to save your money and you were to stay healthy and we had a magic globe that said we're going to live that long, then yeah, saving money wouldn't be a bad option. But guess what? We don't have that luxury. So if you do die, even if you die tomorrow and your policy's $20,000 benefit and it's $100 a month, like, dude, you pay $100 a month premium and your family's going to get paid the full amount. So that's huge. And then the third thing I like talking about with them is going to be living benefits. So one of the biggest things seniors have to remember, and really all of us have to remember, is before something happens in terms of like a natural death, in most cases, something like a terminal illness is most likely going to occur. You're going to come down with, heart disease or cancer, something serious like that. So if that does happen, you're actually going to have access to a portion of that money before. The rest of it will take care of your family for the funeral and final expenses.
That's great. That's good. I mean, that's a huge value plea for people, especially at that age, who probably don't have a lot to save. Listen, John, right now you've got $7,000 saved, and we're looking at a $20,000, $30,000 policy, and that $7,000 you need to have as a backup for some time now. Most people aren't great savers. So that's why people put a small bill in place, which allows them to take that mental pressure and guilt they'll feel each week by not saving that money.
It gives them a great opportunity to leverage. So if you can leverage $100 a month for, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 policy as a senior, that's like a no-brainer. Because think about like $100 a month for like a $30,000 benefit. Dude, it's going to take you like years and years and years to save $30,000. But then we talk about inflation, and if it's in the bank, you're not really getting interest, and so it's kind of a losing battle if you're going to try to save, which you probably wouldn't even in the first place.
Correct. You haven't yet. You're 67, right? And that's why we're here, because you don't have any coverage. So I know you want to save, but most people do. Is they put a small bill in place. I love that. One of the things too about insurance you mentioned for a second is the way it works is as soon as you're approved, you can. I mean, we don't tell clients this, but they could start smoking. They could become an alcoholic. They could get addicted to drugs. They could get obese. They could come down with cancer the next day. And if it's after the day that it was approved, it's uncontestable. It's 100% locked in. It cannot be reversed. The insurance company can't go, hey, you know what? We really don't want to issue that. No, it's law. They have to pay now if something, God forbid, happens. That's the value of life insurance. So, so let's roll with this one. This one kind of could be misconstrued a different way, but it's kind of how we build up. But it's one we see with people maybe who aren't 100% in, and they'll go, I just wanted quotes, I don't think I can afford it.
Yeah, so that's one of my favorite ones. And so, I try to kill that as much as I can at the start of it. So we go through a monthly budget. I ask them how much coverage they're going to need. I ask them how much their rent is, how much the mortgage, how much their car payment. So I really know kind of, I ask them, so Grady, it looks like you're saving a little bit, a couple $100 a month, couple $1,000 a month. Is that correct? And they usually tell me what the situation is. And so from there, basically what I like to talk to them is I just shoot them straight. And so if they tell me, they can't afford it because, they have to think about it because of the price, then basically I'll just break it down to what we just talked about. So Grady, you've been retired for 15 years now or 10 years. I can assume that with Social Security and pension and all that kind of stuff, your monthly cash flow has probably been the same for the last couple of years.
Oh, yeah.
And so what a lot of people tell me, Grady, is if right now the $50 a month for the $10,000 of coverage is an issue, think about when something happens, how much that burden of the funeral and final expenses to your wife or your kid is going to be an issue. And so we don't have to knock this thing out of the park right now, but what we do need to do is get something in place so you're locked in with your health and the coverage and the price. If we need to start lower and get something basic in line and then upgrade later down the road, we can totally do that, but we need to at least get something in place today. So do you want to go with the 10,000, the 15, or the 20?
Got it. Right to close, right to push. There's the action needs to come in place. Because it's a great way you say it. You're on, if Bob, you make $2,000 a month and Mary, you make $1,000, and we're sitting here and Bob's saying he can't afford it. You guys can't afford it. Well, what do we do when we pull Bob's income out of the situation? How can Mary afford it then?
Right.
And that's really what you know.
It's usually just just them reallocating money sometimes. In today's day and age, everyone has like YouTube TV and like Netflix, and maybe they smoke extra cigarettes a day, or they get a pack of beer a day, or whatever the case may be. And so breaking down their income, especially with seniors, because don't let them lie to you. They know exactly what they get per month, and they know exactly what their bills are. The stuff doesn't change. And so if you have to say, you know, hey, Grady, seems like this is really important to you based on what you told me and what we talked about, do you think instead of, you know, buying 2 packs a week, you cut down to 1 or 1.5 packs? Or do you think, you know, can you believe, Grady, that you can protect your family for less than what your monthly phone bill is? So just getting them to realize the importance of the money they're already spending and just reallocate that into, you know, funeral and final expense coverage.
It's awesome, Hayden. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. Any final advice you have to some of the new producers that are looking to level up to the FFL level you're at?
Yeah. So I would say the biggest thing, guys, you guys have heard it a million times, is just have enough leads, have enough people to see. Repetition is going to, you know, be your biggest friend in this business, seeing as many people as possible. And then the other thing is, you know, there's so many trainings out there. Make sure that you utilize the trainings, get these things down, so when, you know, the client asks them, you have the rebuttal right away, you're ready to go. But the biggest thing among like everything else that we talked about, Grady, I'm sure you can agree with me, is just having the control. And so half the battle, yes, the objection handling is very important, but half the battle is like, I called you, you requested this, I called you, we set an appointment, I drove to your house, we went, you know, through this for the last 20, 30 minutes. You need this. You know, your wife, your kids are going to be in trouble if something doesn't, you know, get put into place today. We're getting this done. And so I would just say the control and making the decision, doing what's best for them, even if sometimes it gets a little bit uncomfortable because they want to wait and they never want to make a decision. That's going to be your biggest tip, you know, to help more people, close more business, and, you know, avoid the, you know, objections they're going to throw at you.
Awesome, Hayden. Thank you. Hayden, what's your phone number?
Yeah, you guys can reach me at 480-747-5228. Otherwise, you can reach me on social media. Pretty much everything's the same. It's Hayden Hill. So just search me and you can find me on there.
One more time on that phone number in case you go right slow.
480-747-5228. And then on social media, just first name, last name, HaydenHill.
Awesome. Hayden's about to be a Hall of Fame producer of the Red Jacket, Hall of Fame agency owner. That's a double red jacket. Do you get 2 jackets?
That's what I was asking.
I think you might get a patch. I don't know, but
double patch.
You're getting red jackets, my man. So Hayden's a rock star. Hopefully this training was helpful. Rewatch it a few times. Takes time to learn these magic words, but the best thing that I learned from mentors is if it's important, write it down. Go back, hit replay, write down what Hayden said, these magic words, these magic phrases, read them, make them your own. So when you hear these, think about it, work policy, save my money, can't afford it, lines in the homes that you guys are going to run into this week and weekend. You're going to start to get results like Hayden does. And we'll have you on these podcasts real soon. So Hayden, again, thank you for the time. Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you.
And we'll talk to you all real soon. Bye for now.